Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the one and only Allied Rivals podcast. My name is Caedmon Bauer, and in a minute you will see the glorious face of A.J Herschel, the kid.
We're back.
Yes, we are. It is the Allied Rivals podcast. Welcome back, everyone. This is your NFL draft recap. And it's going to be hype. Spectacular. Yeah. It's going to be hype. AJ, How you doing?
I'm doing all right, you know. It's a normal Tuesday pretty much. I'm excited to talk about the draft, obviously. But yeah, it's been a decent day. Moon Knight finale comes out tomorrow. We'll talk about the Bears draft and everything. I'm excited. As if you read at least the title of the video, you know we have a special guest, so that's going to be exciting as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, hey, the NBA playoffs are in full swing. Baseball exists, which wasn't even supposed to happen. And, like, the NFL draft was great. So, it's a good day, man. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, except for the fact that the Bucks are down by, like, 25 right now.
To the best defense in basketball, yeah.
Yeah. Giannis is like, after the first quarter, he was like 1 for 8. So this is just not a good day.
Yeah.
But it is a good day because we're here on the Allied Rivals podcast.
Yeah. It wasn't good, and then we hit like pre-stream, and then instantly Caedmon's like happiness just shot up.
Through the roof. But Keisha Heffron and Lightning Bauer already in the comments getting hyped. So AJ,
thank you for coming back as usual.
Yeah. So AJ, do we pull on our special guest at this point?
It's been a minute since we've had a special guest, so it's good to have someone. It's
Mark Gronek was our last guest
during the Super Bowl.
Today,
so it's been a good like 2.5 months, something like that. Today,
folks, we have an actual YouTuber live in the house with us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the one and only creator of Sideline Scoop on YouTube, Luke Beller.
What's up, guys?
Luke?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk draft, talk with you guys. I think you guys got a sweet channel over here, so I'm excited to talk draft. It was a fun weekend.
Oh yeah, it was really fun. This is gonna be great.
Well, Luke, thank you so much for coming on. This is pretty hype. If any of you haven't seen Luke's channel already, go check it out. Sideline Scoop. That's
in the description.
It's in the description everywhere. So go check it out. And then and that's specifically if you're a Packers fan. However, if you're a Bears fan, you could look at it as like, you know,
intel on the enemy.
Yeah. Kind of like that.
Hey, when the Packers lose in the playoffs, you know, the Bears fans come into to comment. So if you want to come in too.
Yep, there you go. So no matter what team you're a fan of, go subscribe to Luke Beller, Sideline Scoop. And then he also has an NFL channel. Go check that one out too. But Luke, can we roast you or not roast you? Can we burn you with some? Can we burn you with some questions for a few minutes?
Yeah, roast me. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we go. Interview with Luke Beller, as we always do. We always interview our guests. So Luke, let's just start it off with this. This is a sports podcast. How about you give us your favorite sports teams and why they're your favorite?
Yeah, favorite sports teams. Number one, Packers, as you can tell in the background here.
Woo!
I've been a Packers fan my whole life. Mom grew up in Wisconsin. I'm actually live in Texas, but I was raised as a Packers fan, so I'd say I'm blessed, not to be a Cowboys fan as well. But then besides that, I don't really have a huge, I'm not a fan of other teams as I am the Packers. So I do live in Dallas, so I'm sort of a Mavericks fan, sort of a Rangers fan, but not diehard like Packers. So that's pretty much the biggest one.
There you go. Yeah, well, you were raised right, obviously.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
So yeah, Luke, as you know, I'm also a Packers fan, so that gets me pretty hype. Up here is A.J Herschel, the kid, loyal Bears fan.
Ride or die. Oh
yeah. At least we outnumber him, so we're good.
Yeah.
See, I gotta stop letting Caedmon choose the guests. This keeps happening.
Yeah, we've had significantly more Packers fans on here than Bears because I run the guest shows. But Lightning Bowers in the comments section, excited to see Luke Beller join the show because this could go down as a legendary episode.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
Luke, you do a great job. We appreciate you. We all appreciate you. We certainly do. So, Luke, we've talked about your Sideline Scoop a little bit. Why don't you just give us like a little brief tell us why, like, and how you started it.
Yeah, so I'm currently I'm 24 years old, but about 2 years ago I actually decided to start my channel. A little background, like back in 2018, I went to college 1 year, decided to leave college, wasn't for me. Sort of wanted to do my own thing. So then a couple of years I was trying different kinds of things. Like I ran all these random like e-commerce stores for a few, like I ran like 5 of them, made a little money, not much profit. So I was testing different things, did different things. And then around May 2020, about 2 years ago, I wasn't sure what to do. I was sort of in a place where I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. And so I sort of just like prayed about it, sort of started thinking about what I felt like I should do. And then I sort of thought about making videos, my, fandom of the Packers, my enjoyment in fantasy football, which I started off on the channel a little, if you look way back in the past.
Hey, yo.
But yeah, that was sort of the moment I decided to start it. And so I just was like, sort of started doing it, decided I was going to make it happen. Was like, okay, I'm going to start this. I'm going to post a video pretty much every day besides the weekend, every weekday. And I was sort of committed to that. And so I just sort of kept consistently doing it, slowly more from fantasy into solely Packers as I enjoyed that more. And, I still love fantasy football, but, Packers made more sense as time went by. But that's sort of how I got to where I am today, just sort of consistently posting that content. And it's been lots of fun.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, personally, I can't keep up with everything the Packers do. So I just go to Sideline Scoop. I just put on the headphones, listen while I do my homework. I'm all caught up on all the Packers news. But Luke, something I've wanted to know for a long time is that picture of Brett Favre you have in your background.
There he is.
Is there anything special about this, or is it just?
It's sort of like I have like 7 pictures in my room still, but that's the only one that made it on the wall. The other ones actually, I'm in an apartment, so I wasn't sure if I should keep nailing in the walls after the first one, but I do like that Brett Favre one, and I think that might be his like final time at Lambeau. I can't remember, but so I like that one. So it's a good one to have in the background. But yeah, honestly, if you can see right, you probably can't see it, but there's a box right there, and there's like 5 pictures in there. So I should probably add more. I just don't know if I should keep banging on the walls, but there we go.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Love that. Well, Luke, I've kind of noticed that you post a lot of like Bible verses or like stuff relating to the Bible on your channel. So when did you start doing that, and what made you decide to do that?
Yeah, so I've been a Christian like my whole life, and it's definitely the most important thing in my life is my faith. And so as time went by, I decided to start, sharing a little bit more of it on my channel. So I would go post Bible verses, just sort of thoughts I have throughout my day, because it is like the biggest thing in my life, is my faith. So I experience that every day, like praying and, seeking God. And, lots of times it's like I just talk Packers, but, it's another big part of my life that maybe people wouldn't know of. So that's why just from time to time, I like to sort of share any thoughts that are on my mind or verses I come across that I feel like, people could relate with, sort of like I do at times. So that's sort of why I started doing that.
Amen.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have a favorite Bible verse in particular?
Yeah, so I have a couple. Let me think right now. What's at the top? Let's see. A big one for a while, Jeremiah 29:11. Sort of 3 verses there. It's for another plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future. And it goes, then you will seek me and find me with all your heart. That's one of the next ones. And I've just experienced that. It's like when you seek God, you find him, and it's those moments where, it can be easy at times to get bogged down by everything else in life that's going on. And so I think that verse is true. It's like when you seek God, you'll find God. So I really, like that one.
That's super cool. That's awesome. Love that. Well, as we're sort of wrapping up our interview, and comment section, feel free to give Mark any questions you decide.
Luke.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. I get them mixed up.
Oh my goodness.
That's true.
But do you have any other big hobbies besides like sports and podcasting?
That's a good question. Most of my time is taken up with, following sports and then posting on it, because that's what I love to do, and it's what I'm passionate about. I have a guitar back here, if you can see.
Yeah,
nice.
I play a little. I honestly should play more. I used to take lessons a couple of years ago, so I do that sometimes. I like to, just go chill with friends, dinner, that kind of stuff. But yeah, most of it, honestly, I did right now, especially in my life. I just like to sort of work on what my channel, put things out, try to grow that. That's really my main focus.
Yeah. You could like write some on that guitar, give yourself a nice intro or something too.
That's true. I could. That's
there
true.
You go.
There's a thought.
Oh yeah.
Love the music because personally, I am also a big music guy, and I think AJ is too. AJ kind of goes crazy on the hand drums.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
You need a little piano solo in the back. I got you, man.
Yeah.
Got you. Well, we also got Thomas H in the house. What's up, Thomas? Go Falcons. Thomas H, Lightning Bauer, and Keisha Heffron. We got 3 different teams here represented. We got Packers, Chiefs, and Falcons. So let's see if we can get any more in the house. Luke, Lightning Bauer has a question for you. What's your favorite Packers memory?
Favorite Packers memory, man. That's a good question. There's probably, let me think of it's funny. The one that really sticks out in my mind the most anytime anyone asks me this question is when we played Detroit. I can't remember what year it was, and it was the Hail Mary to.
Yep, there it is. I knew it. I knew it.
I think that was Richard Rodgers, right? Because Aaron Rodgers had a few Hail Marys. But I remember that I was in high school. I might have been a junior or something. I was doing like algebra. I remember. Of course, I was watching the game, but after that, I was like wired. I couldn't fall asleep for like hours, and it was like worth it. So that one always stays in my mind. It was just a crazy moment. But there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that I didn't see that. I think I was just really young. And it looked like we were going to lose, if I remember, so I just went to bed.
Oh, man, that's tough.
Oh, but that is also Lightning Bauer's favorite memory.
Oh, nice. No, that's a great one. Luckily, we have Aaron Rodgers, so there's a good amount of memories, a good amount to pick from, especially Hail Marys. Like back versus the Cardinals we ended up losing the game, but it was crazy. Like I was watching it with one of my friends back when I was, I don't know, a lot younger, and it was the Hail Marys to Jeff Janis. I was crazy, but
you're making me feel old because I still remember that Cardinals game like it was like 2 weeks ago.
I remember that one.
Really?
Oh yeah.
AJ, you're getting up there.
You're getting up there in age.
Yeah, exactly.
No longer the kid. But yeah, that kind of wraps us up with the interview, Luke. Unless you got any other words of wisdom to share with us.
Words of wisdom.
Put you on the spot there.
Do what you love. Be passionate about it. Be consistent. Work hard. There you go. Some wisdom.
There you go.
Nice. Do you have any other like channels or anything other than YouTube? Because I know you're on Spotify.
Yeah, I have Spotify there. I put it sometimes. Not as often there. YouTube's the main thing, but I'm starting to use Twitter more.
Okay.
Luke_Beller up on Twitter if you use that service.
There you go. Yeah. Nice. We'll put it in the description for you. Oh yeah.
All right, sweet.
There we go. Well, that kind of wraps up the interview, and now I think we move to the NFL draft recap spectacular.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. AJ, take over.
Yes. This draft was crazy. Personally, I had a lot of fun because Georgia had the most players in a single draft ever with 15. If you go to the NFL site and sort by college, literally everyone who went to the combine got drafted. So I had a good time, especially since the Bears didn't have a first-round pick. So I just got to watch Georgia players fly off the board, so it was nice. But the biggest question we all knew going in was like whether it was going to be Trayvon or Aiden Hutchinson. It's like, are you guys shocked the Jags took it? Luke, let's start with you. Are you shocked that Jacksonville went Trayvon over Aiden? Let's start with that.
I guess coming to draft night, not as shocked because I feel like for a couple of weeks leading up to the draft, it almost seemed to shift. Like a month prior, I think it was like all Aiden Hutchinson talk, and for a long time. And if you look back, like even a year ago, it was Kayvon Thibodeau, and sort of switched over time. And so it was odd when Trayvon Walker started just flying up. And then I think before the draft started, I saw some sportsbook had like minus 500 odds for Trayvon Walker. So I was like, okay, he's probably like the odds are crazy in favor for him. So I was like, I guess they're going to do it, which I feel like he's, maybe he has more upside potentially, and Aiden Hutchinson more of a sure thing. But, the Jags clearly see something they like there if they're willing to go number one.
Yeah, absolutely. Cade, what do you think, dude?
I was a little bit surprised, not all that much. I mean, you hear Aiden Hutchinson. I feel like I heard his name so much more than Trayvon Walker. And I thought personally the Jags would go with him because I'd heard they'd talked to him a ton. But I guess they talked to Trayvon enough and seen him play enough that they decided to go with him over Aiden Hutchinson. And I get it. I think Luke, you hit it on the head. I think Aiden might be a more sure thing, but Trayvon might have a higher ceiling. Like, we really don't know. They were both spectacular through all of college.
Yeah. And I understand chasing upside because it's like he's probably going to be a good player, most likely regardless. And if you get a guy who's even better, it's like, hey, take the risk. Why not?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think the confusing thing for me was that, like with all of the Georgia players in the draft, I'm going to keep saying that all day, but like there was Trayvon, there was Jordan Davis. I think to me, the shock for me was that how fast he got up because he had a stupid good combine. And like we knew how fast he was, we knew how athletic he was. He just didn't necessarily have the same amount of stats as someone like Aiden Hutchinson did because the defense had so many people on it, right? It reminds you a lot of like Steelers defenses a couple years ago where everybody just has 5 sacks because the entire defense their entire front seven was crazy. And so seeing him jump up to number 1, I felt like they're really betting on intangibles, right? About speed, about strength over stats. Because Aiden Hutchinson he won the Lombardi Award last year. He got Ted Hendricks Award. He took basically every single like award you could take in college football. And so 2 weeks before, I'm talking with my dad and I'm like, when did Trayvon get to be number 1? Like, how did this happen? I'm still a little confused, but upside it is, I guess.
Yeah, I
think his agent was making some good moves, convincing people like, hey, he's probably going to go number 1. The media's like, he's going number 1. Team's like, oh, shoot, he is,
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I think Trayvon might have gotten a little overshadowed just by the spectacularness of the Bulldogs defense, just entirely.
Oh, yeah.
And Aiden sort of carried. Not entirely, because Michigan's defense isn't bad. But
yeah, Michigan had a good team. Yeah, it's crazy. Other thing, though, speaking of defense, is that like the first 5 picks were all defense this year.
Ridiculous.
Like we knew this was going to be a wide receiver draft. We all knew that. The class was stupid good this year. But like it was really, really heavy on defense. No O-lineman in the top 5. I thought for sure Houston was going to take Evan Neal. They go for Derek Stingley instead. Okay, sure. I mean, I didn't expect the defense to be so heavy in the first round, I'll say. Didn't expect it.
Yeah,
I didn't
definitely.
No. Yeah.
I would have thought at least one of those linemen would have gone in the top. I would have assumed that, but guess not.
Right. Yeah. And one of the other crazy things is I know like we all looked at a bunch of mock drafts, right?
Yeah.
As it was leading up.
That's always fun.
Malik Willis was projected to go at 2. He went in round 3. Like, I think that's the biggest surprise to me, just sitting there day 1, and Kenny Pickett's the only one flying off the board. Cade, let's start with you. Were you surprised, A, that Kenny Pickett was only QB taking round 1, and B, that Malik Willis didn't go till the 3rd round?
A, Kenny Pickett, only QB in round 1. It was kind of shocking. I mean, this wasn't the best quarterback class we've seen, for sure. Even compared to last year's, it's not special. But a lot of teams I feel like just aren't looking for the QB. So I didn't expect quarterbacks to be taken as early as they were last year, because when you draft a quarterback in round 1, 2, it's more likely they'll be starting. You're drafting them with that potential that they'll be starting. Maybe not this year, but most likely the next year. Kenny Pickett might be that kind of guy, but we really don't know. I feel like the ceiling could be really high for Kenny Pickett, but the floor could be really low.
Interesting.
Was I surprised by Malik Willis? 2, 3, nah.
Interesting.
No, didn't faze me.
Luke, what'd you think, man?
Yeah, honestly, I was pretty shocked just because it seemed like maybe Malik Willis could go round 1, just because I thought one team out there would be like, okay, he has, I think, an insane amount of upside. Maybe maybe it'll take him some more time. But I thought one team out there would be like, we're going to take a chance on him. And so the fact that when he didn't go round 1, I was like, okay, who's going to like come up in round 2 to get him? Just, so I thought someone would. And then the fact that didn't happen, I was like, what in the world? I was shocked. I thought someone would take a chance on a quarterback, even though, they say next year's class is going to be a lot better. I thought there'd be one team out there. So to see him go round 3, I was shocked. But I mean, for him, maybe it's better, because now it's like if he takes a long time. If he was a first rounder and he took a long time to develop, that would constantly be on the, the discussion about the team. But now that he's a third rounder, he doesn't have as much pressure for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like the biggest loss for him is, to me at least, is the contract, because he doesn't get, the giant bonus that you get for being a first rounder. But he also got to go to Tennessee. Brett Coleman has a great video on this about why only like 30% of first round quarterbacks turn out great. And a lot of it is because of the team that they go to. Like, why has Cleveland gone through so many quarterbacks over the last 20 years? Because their organization had a ton of problems. They didn't draft well outside of quarterback. And of course, not every players end up being busts. Not everybody ends up being a Josh Allen and all that. But he gets to go to a team where A, he's not the starter. B, he gets Derrick Henry. And C, he's going to have Treylon Burks and Robert Woods as his number 2 targets if Tannehill eventually steps out of that number 1 role. So to me, at least, I think he landed in a great situation. It sucks he's not going to get a huge contract, but the fact he landed to a team that was just the number 1 seed in the AFC is a lot better than getting stuck in Houston instead. No offense to Davis Mills. Absolutely. I think he landed in a good situation.
Yeah, no, I think that definitely is. If considering whatever happens with Ryan Tannehill, I don't know what'll happen there. How old is he? Is he mid-30s? Is he low? Something.
I think he's 30 off the top of my head. I can check really quick for us.
Okay.
33. 33.
Okay. 33. So, I mean, I could see if Malik Willis in a couple of years looks good, I wouldn't be shocked if they're like, okay, we'll go with Malik Willis because he'll still be in his rookie contract, which, teams, when you have that rookie quarterback on that rookie contract, I don't know what Tannehill's contract looks like and all the cap numbers and stuff, but I would assume if they went Willis, they could load up some other places. So that'll be interesting to sort of see what happens there for sure.
Yeah. Especially since with Malik Willis, this is to me, I'm forever calling this the Alex Smith role, right? Patrick Mahomes comes in as a project. He gets a year to sit behind Alex Smith, and then he comes out after a year learning the offense. He's got a great team and all this, and he ends up being, 50 touchdowns MVP caliber every year. I think Malik Willis has that ceiling. I don't know if that's what he's going to hit exactly, but having the benefit of being in a system for an entire year without being asked to immediately start, that's going to be great for his development, I feel like, even though I know Tannehill's going to want to keep his job and all that too.
Yeah, yes. And it's sort of like Aaron Rodgers going to the Packers with Brett Favre. It's like, that clearly worked out for Rodgers. So we'll see if it happens with Willis.
Facts.
Yeah. Well, Tennessee had an interesting draft. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing I was surprised about was the A.J. Brown trade.
That was crazy.
That was insane.
Who do you think won?
That's tough because I think clearly, first year I'd say the Eagles win, because they get that production. I understand why the Titans would do it because then you get Treylon Burks, who I think he's a great receiver. I honestly wish the Packers had got. I was hoping he would fall to 22 at the Packers.
You weren't the only one. Caedmon was texting me the whole time.
Yeah, no, I was hoping. I was doing a live stream, and when the Titans traded up, I was like, oh shoot, guys! It looks like I think it's gonna be Treylon Burks. Dang it, And I think the Packers may have drafted him. Honestly, I don't know though. But for the Titans, I guess I understand where you don't have to pay A.J. Brown, but at the same time, it's like I think your team's gonna take a hit. Losing Brown for the next year. So I see both sides and why they would do it, but I think the Eagles I may favor the Eagles a little in this one. I think Treylon Burks though will be great. So it'll just depend on how long it takes.
Yeah. Cade, what'd you think, dude?
Yeah, I think offhand the Eagles won this thing. And AJ, I was texting you the entire draft. I want Treylon Burks
the whole time.
Why did we not trade up for him?
I was the same
1 through 7. Like it's that kind of frustrated me. But I mean, it's not like we took bad picks or anything. It's just that kind of frustrated me. But I think the Eagles won this thing just because A.J. Brown can be really dominant. I mean, he's a big guy, pretty fast guy, has good hands. And on the Eagles, he'll be playing with Jalen Hurts year 3. He'll be getting more experience. I think this could be a good offense for him. So I think the Eagles got the better of this because who knows how Treylon Burks will play. I mean, it might take him, he might be an amazing rookie. He might hardly get any playing time. Like, I really wanted Treylon Burks, but I still don't know how he's going to play in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, I think logistically it definitely made a lot of sense. Also, don't want to forget Caleb Diego, our boys in the chat. Good to see you. Good to have you back. Let us know what you thought about the trade. I mean, you traded in Philly, you traded a first round pick and a third round pick for a guy who's basically maybe not all pro, but Pro Bowl talent, right? Every single year. He gets banged up every now and then, but still, you get to pair him with Devonta Smith, which is great because you get one of the best route runners in the game with one of the best like big receivers in the game. And then for Tennessee, I mean, they have no cap room. I just checked; they have about $5 million in cap right now. They do not have the money to give him what the Eagles gave AJ a 4-year, $100 million extension. They didn't have money, 57 guaranteed. They just didn't have money for that. And Treylon Burks, every single player comp was A.J. Brown from every single scout. So, I mean, you got A.J. Brown Jr. for cheaper. Sure, he might be a little bit more of a project, but logistically, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, and when you look at the money, it's like, I don't know how much he'll get paid, but it's probably something like the cap number is probably like so low. And if you compare it to A.J. Brown, clearly Brown is better, but it's like, when you look at the price, it's like, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And we know how heavy of a wide receiver draft this is. So I'm asking this more to you guys because you guys are the Packers fans and you guys wanted Treylon Burks. How do you guys feel about Christian Watson out of North Dakota State? Luke, let's start with you. What do you think, man?
Honestly, I love Christian Watson. In my as I was talking about, coming up to the Packers draft, he was one player I wanted the Packers to leave with. I wasn't sure if it would have to be like round 1, pick 28. I was thinking if they did it, I'd be fine with it. And maybe I wasn't sure. I didn't think he would fall to the end of round 2. And it looks like the Packers didn't think he would either, considering they, traded their 2 second-round picks for him. But I think he could I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that he ends up being the best wide receiver out of this class.
Wow.
I think he has the potential. 6'4", 4'3", 640. He had one of the highest like athletic scores, the RAS score, like all time, like right behind Calvin Johnson. So I think he has the ability. It could take him a couple of years. I think he'll be solid year 1. But I think year 2, 3, I mean, he could be a monster. So I think the Packers are betting on some of the upside there. And I like the pick a lot.
Yeah. I also like the pick a lot. He's a big guy, super athletic, pretty fast. And so I don't know.
Fast.
Really fast. I mean, his vert and his broad jump are just insane. Like. I'm honestly kind of excited about this. I kind of feel like this might be the MVS replacement for the Packers, just hopefully better hands.
Yeah, hopefully. Unfortunately, like if you look at his college, I think he had a lot of drops. But hopefully that doesn't continue. But Brian Gutekunst in his press conference, someone asked him the question like, "Do you care about his drops?" He was like, "No, he'll be fine." So they seem to not think it's that big of a worry. But I feel like in year 1, because he has a speed, so even if he isn't like developed, the defense is going to have to watch for him because if he's out there, like you got to factor that in. So he could definitely start off maybe being more of the deep threat potentially, and then I feel like he can develop into like an all around number 1 receiver.
Oh yeah, yeah. It reminds me a lot. Speaking of the drops, it reminds me of like remember when we all overreacted when Jamar Chase dropped 3 catches in the preseason, right? And then we see how that turned out, right? Yeah. I feel like it can be kind of Christian Watson. I mean, he gets Aaron Rodgers. Every single pass is going to be right at the numbers. Nobody's going to be throwing ducks to him, right? And he definitely has a super high ceiling. Jameson Williams is my favorite receiver coming out of the class. But it's like, I mean, for crying out loud, Watson, like we said, his intangibles are great. Maybe the one thing you could knock him on is he went to NDSU. So, I mean, FCS, not FBS school. Sure, competition's different and all that. But his intent, the speed, the height, the size, like if he's not in a class this good, he's round 1 easy. So, like, when I was going through my head thinking about who's the best steal of the draft, like 5 of the people I thought about were wide receivers, and I'm like, it's just because the class is that good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Packers got a great guy here. Unfortunately for me, but.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, what I thought was crazy that it's sort of a funny fact, like the Vikings traded back with the Lions who got Jameson Williams. They traded the Packers who got Christian Watson. So it's like, okay, maybe those trades make sense, like value-wise, maybe. But I'm like, you just basically gave your 2 rivals 2 elite potential. So
the Vikings have no loyalty to anyone.
Yeah, like whenever Jameson Williams or Christian Watson burns the Vikings, like Vikings are never going to hear the end of it. Never.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that does beg a good question though. What team do you guys think had the best draft overall. A lot of teams walked away with a bunch of hauls. So maybe not just one, maybe one or two. But Cade, let's start with you. What do you think? Who had the best drafts?
I think it's between the Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they were the two best. Baltimore Ravens got a steal at, I think it was like pick 14 or 15.
Kyle Hamilton. Yep.
That was crazy. I was really surprised he dropped that far. He might be the biggest steal of the draft for me. Then they just fixed so many problems they had in their team last year. They got a center. They got some edge rushing. They got, I feel like they just got a lot of pieces, and they got a couple tight ends too, which I was really happy about because I feel like the Ravens have never had like a really solid tight end that's playing all 17 games.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens fixed a lot of problems, and then biggest thing for the Eagles, they just got A.J. Brown, and they gave away Treylon Burks. Who knows?
And a third rounder.
Those are my two.
Yeah. Nice. Luke, what about you, man?
I'll probably have to go with, I like the Jets draft a ton and the Chiefs probably. So, I mean, Jets, it's hard to have a bad first round when you have 3 first-round picks, but nonetheless, they came away with, Ahmad Gardner, Garrett Wilson, top 10, which I think is great. And then I think the reason it takes them up, even though they had 3 first-round picks, Jermaine Johnson at 26, who I think some people thought he would go top 10. And so the fact that they got him at 26, that's an insane draft. Like those are 3, huge pieces for your team. So I think that was a great draft by the Jets. And then the Chiefs as well. I think, with them getting McDuffie and then George Karlaftis seemed like a great steal because he could have gone a lot earlier as well. So those are probably the 2 biggest teams.
Yeah, those two y'all are stealing a couple of mine. I had Ravens a couple. Anyway, Eagles is definitely one of them for me, but a little bit for a different reason. They got Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round. Third round. I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil that. That is my biggest steal of the draft. But they got Nakobe Dean. They got a center in round 2, solid, and they got Jordan Davis, who's an absolute beast. He gets to get paired with Fletcher Cox, which is gonna be insane. Nobody's gonna be able to run up the middle the whole year. So that's crazy. I think the Steelers did really well getting Pickett, and now they're going to have Deontay, Claypool, and Pickens now as their wide receiving core. Absolutely crazy. I think that's going to be great. And the Bills, they're a team that are this close to winning a Super Bowl, right? They take Kyer Elam, great cornerback, lockdown, great start. And then they get James Cook as a receiving back because they don't have a true receiving back in Buffalo. Out of Georgia. Thank you very much. Which I think that's great for them because Singletary was decent, but he's not a true passing back. That is one of the things Cook does best. I think they had absolute insane, just short up the pieces they needed. I'll say that. They shored up the pieces they needed. Obviously, Jets are a good one as well. But yeah, I think those teams just mentioned had some really good ones. So yeah, spoiler, Nakobe Dean, biggest steal of the draft though, for me, fell to the 3rd round because of slight injury concerns because he didn't get surgery on an injury that he had. He wasn't 100% at Georgia's Pro Day or at the Combine, so wasn't at 100%. But round 3, this dude was one of the top linebackers in the class until he got injured. So the fact that you got that low of a steal for Philadelphia, for me, is going to be huge because when he's 100%, he's a day 1 starter who's fast, can cover tight ends and running backs, and he's crazy getting off the edge. But what did you guys think? Who did you guys think was the biggest steal of the draft? Luke, let's go with you.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think one that could end up being a huge steal is the Ravens with David Ojabo
that's a good one.
At 45, just because people thought maybe he would go top 10 before his injury. So to get him at 45, even if he misses his first year, where in lots of people's first year, it takes some time to develop anyways. So if he misses his first year, but then comes out and becomes a top 10, top 15 player from the class, then at 45, that's an insane steal there.
Facts. Cade, what did you think, dude? Who's your biggest steal?
Dude, I already said it. Kyle Hamilton. The Ravens had such a good draft. They got some steals. But look, Kyle Hamilton is a big physical guy on the defensive side of the ball. I thought he could have gone top 10, but either way, the Ravens got a steal in this guy. I mean, I think he has great vision. I think he had three or four interceptions this year. He had like 8 or 9 at his career at Notre Dame.
Yep.
This guy's good. This guy's ready to play in the big leagues. Let me tell you that much.
And he can read a quarterback's eyes like nobody's business. He is a ball hawk in every sense of the word.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, he batted down like 20 passes just this year. Guy's a menace.
Yeah, he was faster there because I know that like whenever, because I think his 40 is what dropped him a little potentially, but when you watch him play out there, he looks fast enough, you know?
Yeah. He may not be quick off the break, but he gets up to speed real fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Livewire in the comment section says he agrees with Luke. Ojabo, big steal. That was a really nice snag there. So, interesting question. Which team do you guys think had the worst draft then? Luke, we talked about it a little earlier.
Yeah, it's hard to say Patriots, but at the same time, looking at it, I may have to say Patriots. Yeah. You know, Cole Strange was a strange pick at 29. And then Tyquan Thornton at 50. I think you still had – there were a couple other receivers still available there. You had Sky Moore.
Yeah.
I think was still available. I think
Pickens was available.
Yeah, so – I feel like Thornton could be a good player, but I feel like those other guys have a higher ceiling, like as an all-around wide receiver. So those picks are a little confusing. But as we were talking before, it's like, well, if Bill Belichick's there, it's hard to bet against him. But at the same time, looking at the draft, it's like makes you scratch your head a little.
Right. Yeah. Cade, what did you think, dude?
Look, I think it's pretty close who had the worst between the Commanders and the Patriots. Now I'm gonna give the worst to the Commanders, and let's give them a little bit of break here because it was their first ever NFL draft.
True.
So no, but the Commanders, I feel like their purpose here wasn't to do a whole ton. Like I don't think they're trying to fill up too many gaps here. And they didn't have a whole ton of picks either. So I mean, you had Jan Dotson, you had Brian Robinson. I'm blanking, but
I like Brian Robinson to be fair.
Yeah.
And they got a D tackle in round 2. What's his name? Mathis out of Bama.
Mathis, yeah.
Because all of us know Washington's one problem is the D line. Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was shocked with. I mean, I think Dotson's going to be a good player. But at 16, I was shocked with Burks there, with Christian Watson still around. You know, I was shocked when they took him. I think he'll be good, but I don't know.
Yeah,
that's fair. Livewire, keeping with the streak of New England Patriots in the comment section having the worst draft. I still remember day of they got to the Patriots pick, and I just looked to the person sitting next to me and I said, "How much you want to bet they trade down?" Took a minute and a half until they traded down. Wow, what a shock. And then he throws my Bears saying we traded away our first round picks as if we had more than one. We had one first round pick. We traded it for Justin Fields, and the Giants got Evan Neal with it.
It's true.
I mean, it is what it is. Evan Neal's going to be great. Don't get me wrong. Less injuries happen, but hopefully not. He's going to be really good. He's got great hands, great footwork. I don't feel like we had a worst draft because we got like 11 picks. We did a really good job, I thought, of trading down. Who's the cornerback that we got? I'm already blanking. Kyler Gordon out of Washington. Really, really a great outside of Trent McDuffie. I thought he was good. We got Jaquan Brisker. We really shored up the defense because we're the Chicago Bears. I was a little bit disappointed we didn't take Pickens to help out, but sure, it is what it is. Livewire says the Commanders should have drafted him instead on the D-line. I feel like this is a really hard year for me to pick a worst draft because a lot of the teams I thought really did I thought this was a solid class overall. I didn't think there were any huge busts. I thought the Saints had kind of a mid draft. They drafted offensive line, but maybe it's just because they didn't draft anybody big. Offensive line, cornerback, just sort up a couple issues they had, not really huge names, but I feel like overall for me, it was a really solid class. We've talked about the Patriots enough, so don't need to talk about that anymore. But let's break it down to our teams. Let's start wrapping it up with this. Any of you guys want to specifically go first on this one? Talk about your own team. Luke, Cade?
Yeah, sure, I can go.
All right, take it. What's your? I know you did a video on this. Let's get a little summary. What'd you think of the Packers? What's their draft grade from you?
I gave the Packers an A+ actually. So Honestly, right when they picked Quay Walker, I was a little shocked because I didn't see it as a huge need. But then, sort of looking at it, I was like, okay, this actually makes lots of sense when you take a look at Devondre Campbell. Chris Barnes there's the other middle linebacker who's okay, but he's not elite like Devondre Campbell. And so I think the Packers clearly want to come in and bolster their defense and to get a guy in Quay Walker, 6'4". He had I think I saw some tweet. He had like a faster shuttle time than Eric Stokes, cornerback. So he can fly around the field. He can
both out of Georgia, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, out of Georgia, represent there. But so I think to have him on their defense, and he's one of the best tackling linebackers too. To have him and Devondre Campbell near each other, I think it's really going to help the Packers run D, and he can cover people so they can keep those guys out there together. I think a lot more. And Brian Gutekunst said in his press conference that he thinks that drafting Quay Walker means the Packers can use more like two middle linebacker or two inside linebackers more than they had in the past because of the talent. So I love that pick. And then Devontae Wyatt at 28, I thought that was like a steal to shore up the defensive line there. So two great picks there. And then to get Christian Watson as well, even though we definitely give away our 2 second-round picks, I think that was a great move. And then Romeo Doubs in the 4th round, who looks like he could be a solid receiver as well. And then another receiver in the 7th. So the Packers got some weapons, so there's going to be some competition there. So I really like the Packers draft and what they did.
Solid. Yeah. As much as I hate to say it as a Bears fan, I would give them an A2 because just those 3 back-to-back, Walker, Wyatt, and then Watson is just, triple W's. All of those are really good. I thought those were all really solid picks, especially for where they got him too. Maybe I'm biased because you guys picked 2 Georgia players and we're going to hate watching our offensive line have to play them. But sure. Cade, what do you give the Packers, man? What about you?
I was so disappointed when we didn't trade up for Treylon Burks. I'll say it. Dude, I've said it so many times. I don't need to say it again. But, man, I think Quay is going to be cool. And I also think Devontae Wyatt is going to be cool, too. I think the biggest thing I see about Quay is that he has really good vision, and he's really good at reading the quarterback's eyes. And it seems like he always knows right away. And I bet he watches a ton of film. Seems like every play he knows – this is going to be a run. This is RPO. This is definitely pass. He gets a good amount of tackles for loss, and I just feel like he's there every play. Like every play on defense. Devontae Wyatt, I honestly haven't watched him a ton. I haven't watched a ton of his highlights. So, AJ, maybe you can fill me in. But
absolutely.
He's a big guy. I mean, he's not like super tall, but he's pretty big. He's got some size to him. And what I've seen, it just looks like he's got force.
Yeah. He absolutely does.
He was on the Bulldogs defense, so it's a little hard to tell, but it looks like he has some force.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your grade? What's your grade for him?
A-, and it's not an A+ because I really wanted Treylon Burks.
That would have been nice, definitely.
That would have been nice.
Well, we probably wouldn't have gotten Christian Watson, who I really like. So yeah, we'll see. True. We'll see in a few years who ends up being the best. I think they'll both be solid receivers.
Yeah. So there you go. You got an A, an A+, and which side is it? And an A- in order for the Packers from all of us. We got a couple comments. Zach Tornow, thank you for checking in. Pack had a nice draft on paper. I wonder how many guys see immediate play time. That's true. I think Walker, Wyatt, and Watson obviously are going to be day one starters. But I also think the offensive lineman that they took in round 3, Sean Ryan, I think he could possibly start day 1 too. I mean, Packers haven't had the healthiest O-line over the last year and a half, so I think he's definitely going to put a competition up there. Livewire also says Packers had a pretty nice draft. Got to hand it to them. Absolutely, they were stacked. For me on the other side, I'm going to keep it nice and short. I'm giving the Bears a solid B. I was expecting us to go offensive line and wide receiver. We didn't. Yeah. We opted for defense instead, which I'm not 100% mad at. I thought Braxton Jones was a nice grab in round 5. Jaquan Brisker, I think, is going to be really good. Velus Jones is a speed demon, and I immediately thought Devin Hester as soon as I saw him. So if we get the Devin 2.0, you are not going to see me complaining at all. He's absolutely speedy. Weird dynamic between him and Mooney because they're kind of very similar, but okay. I felt like we didn't make any huge splashes. We got the guy out of Florida State, Dominique Robinson. Or no, that's the other guy. Miami, Ohio. That's what it was. Wrong Florida college, even though it's Ohio. Long story short, we got a D end. We really needed that, especially with Mack and Hicks gone. It was fine for me. It was fine. Not any great, huge splashes. We're going to be mid this year. But that pretty much wraps up our draft spectacular right there, featuring Luke Beller. Do you guys have any last comments on the draft before we wrap up? Like last thoughts on Packers, on any team? Last thoughts on it.
Luke?
Yeah, well, I mean, considering I gave the Packers an A+ grade, it was a fun draft weekend for me. And it was honestly, you know, leading up to the draft, it's fun to see everyone who's getting hyped up, all the mock drafts. It's a fun time. So, you know, even though we're in the off season, to have things to talk about is nice. So, but yeah, great draft of the Packers. So I'm happy as a Packers fan.
Nice. Cade, last thoughts?
We signed 10 undrafted free agents.
Every team did.
And who knows how many of them will make the roster.
True. There you go.
That's all I have to say.
My final thoughts. I'm going to have a lot of fun watching Georgia players this year. And outside of that, congratulations, Pittsburgh. You got a great steal around 2. Brian Robinson's going to be nice with Antonio Gibson in Washington. And that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. Luke, every time we invite a guest, or as long as we remember, we always have them. Do you have a piece of like sports memorabilia that you could show us or something, like a favorite one? I know you got the picture in the back. Got anything else for us?
Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, I'd probably go with this picture here.
There you go.
I got to me.
It's pretty
so,
hype.
Brett
Makes
Favre.
sense.
I think it's the last time he walked off Lambeau Field. So it's a bittersweet memory. You know, of all the years Brett Favre carried the Packers. So got that one situated there.
There you go. Nice. Well, thank you everybody for checking in as usual. Leave a comment. Let us know how you thought your team did in the NFL draft. And if you're a Patriots fan, go ahead and put your defense in the comments below. We'd love to hear it. Keisha Heffron, Lightning Bauer, Livewire, Caleb Diego, Zach Tornow, and Thomas H. Thank you guys so much for checking in the comment section as well. Always a pleasure to have you guys with us. Luke, thank you so much, man, for coming on with us. Loved having you on, man. It was awesome.
Thanks for having me. It was lots of fun. Really enjoyed it. And I really like your guys' channel. So keep up the great work.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Once again, go check out his channel, Sideline Scoop, especially if you're a Packers fan. Link is in the comment section, description below. Be sure to go check it out. Luke, if you ever want to come back, hit us up, let us know. Thank you, everybody, so much for checking out tonight. We will see you guys next time on the one and only Allied Rivals podcast. AJ Herschel, Luke Beller, Caedmon Bauer. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Peace out.
Allied Rivals.